After flying home for my mother's birthday, I was told I couldn't stay at the house because it would make my sister uncomfortable. I booked a motel room alone and spent the night watching them post pictures online with the caption, "Family is everything." 6 months later, they were calling me, begging for help when their perfect family image crumbled. I hadn't been back to Ohio in 3 years. I live in Portland now. Life gets busy, work keeps me on my feet, and honestly, there were some things I just didn't want to deal with back home. Still, when my mom's 60th birthday was coming up, I decided to go. I told her about a month in advance. She seemed polite on the phone, said it was nice that I was coming. Not excited, just polite. I brushed it off. I took time off work. Bought a plane ticket. I even found this antique bracelet at a little shop downtown. It looked just like the one she lost when I was a teenager. I figured she'd love it. I was trying. I landed in Dayton and texted her from the airport. Just landed. Can't wait to see you guys. She texted back a few minutes later. So glad you're here. Quick thing, you'll need to get a motel or something. Alana's going through a lot right now, and having people around makes her uncomfortable. Hope that's okay. I just stood there, staring at the message. Let me explain something. Alana is my younger sister. She's always been the favorite. Always. She could do no wrong. Got pregnant at 19. They bought her a car to make things easier. I moved out at 19, worked 2 jobs, and never got so much as a thank you. Alana has lived at home for years, even after marrying this guy named Travis. They moved in for a few months, and just never left. They had 2 kids, never paid rent, and my parents basically handed them the house. They got the master bedroom. My old room was turned into a playroom for the kids. But I couldn't stay there for one night. I didn't want to start a fight. I booked the cheapest motel I could find. It was rough, cracked windows, noisy hallway, weird smell, but I figured it was just for the night. Around 7:30 that night, I checked Facebook. Then Instagram. Then Snapchat. They were posting like crazy. Balloons. A cake. Candles. Family members from out of state. Even cousins I hadn't seen in years. And every post had some version of the same caption, "Family is everything." I wasn't in any of the pictures. I sat there, alone in that motel room, eating cold takeout from a styrofoam box, watching the party unfold online like a stranger. No one texted. No one asked where I was. Not even a "wish you were here." I flew back to Portland the next morning. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't call. I didn't even leave the gift. I just walked away from all of it. I didn't hear from them again for 6 months. Fast forward. I was at work, deep into a project, when I saw my phone light up. Missed call, Alana. Then another, Mom. Then a voicemail from my dad, and that never happens. I let it sit for a while. Then I got a text from Mom, "Please call. We really need you." So I called. Out of curiosity more than anything. Turns out Travis had been arrested. He worked in real estate and had been siphoning money through fake property deals. It had been going on for years. The authorities had evidence, and he wasn't the only one involved. They had traced a lot of it back to Alana too. She claimed she didn't know anything, but there were bank records, signatures, emails. Stuff in her name. She was in deep. Worse, they were about to lose the house. The IRS had frozen their accounts. The kids, my niece and nephew, were being looked at by child services because Alana was considered unstable. Now they needed help. Someone responsible. Someone with no criminal record. Someone who could take temporary custody, maybe even co-sign on a new place. Someone like me. Suddenly, I was part of the family again. I didn't answer right away. I let my mom talk. I listened while she cried on the phone, said things like, "We didn't know who else to turn to," and you've always been the strong one. I almost laughed. Strong? They treated me like I didn't exist unless they needed something. Alana didn't get on the phone right away. When she finally did, her voice was shaky. Not crying, just nervous. I know we haven't always seen eye to eye. I cut her off. Stop. You didn't even let me in the house 6 months ago. Why would I help you now? She went quiet. Then she said something that stuck with me. Because they'll take my kids if you don't. That was low. She knew I loved those kids. I used to send them birthday cards, even when I didn't visit. I called on Christmas. I never got a thank you, but I still did it. I told her I needed time to think. They called me every day after that. Sometimes Mom, sometimes Alana. Once even Travis from jail. That was surreal. He left a message trying to play the victim. I didn't reply. Then a lawyer called. Their lawyer. He said my name had been listed as a potential placement for the kids. I'd need to fly back, meet with CPS, maybe stay a while. I told him I wasn't making any promises. A week later, a caseworker from Ohio called me. Not the other way around. The court had fast-tracked everything. They wanted me to come in that week. So I did. I took a week off work. Flew back. Again. But this time, it wasn't for a party. When I showed up at the courthouse, Alana looked like hell. Pale, messy hair, same stained hoodie she wore in college. She barely looked at me. Mom was there too. She hugged me like nothing had ever happened. I stood still. Didn't hug back. The judge was blunt. Told me the kids needed a stable home. Said I had no criminal record, steady income, clean background check. I checked all their boxes. Then he asked, "Are you willing to take them in?" I paused. Then said yes. I didn't do it for Alana. I did it for the kids. They didn't choose this. But right there in that courtroom, I started to feel something new. Not just anger. Something sharper. Like all those years I was treated like a ghost, all those family photos without me, had finally added up to something I could use. I took those kids back to Portland. And I started to plan. Things changed fast once I got them to Portland. I signed up the kids Jacob and Lily for school the day after we landed. They were quiet at first, confused, scared, but not broken. They were smart. Sweet. And they knew something bad had happened, even if no one had explained it all. I gave them space. I didn't try to be a replacement mom or anything. Just made sure they had clean clothes, good food, and someone who listened when they talked. Alana called every day. At first, I answered. Then I stopped. I needed peace, and she never brought peace. Just guilt and excuses. Then she started emailing. Long messages. One day, one of them said, "Mom is thinking of selling the house to pay off legal fees. I told her not to unless you wanted it. You deserve it more than anyone." I stared at the screen. The house. The same house I wasn't allowed to sleep in 6 months ago. The house where they had that party without me. The one they turned into a shrine for Alana's perfect life. Now they were offering it to me. I didn't respond. 2 weeks later, I got a call from a real estate agent. Mom had put my name down as someone who might buy it. Family discount, he said. Way below market value. She was desperate. I said I'd think about it. Then I bought it. Cash. My job had been good to me over the years. I never bragged, never flaunted it. But I'd saved. Invested. I had enough. So I made an offer they couldn't refuse. The house became mine. I didn't tell anyone right away. Not Alana. Not Mom. I changed the locks the day the sale went through. And I had the whole place gutted. Tore down the playroom. Ripped out the carpet. Got rid of every trace of the life they built while pretending I didn't exist. One night, a few weeks later, I got a text from my mom. "Are you really going to evict us from the house you grew up in?" I stared at it for a long time. Then I replied, "You evicted me a long time ago. I'm just finishing what you started." When the eviction notice hit their mailbox, Alana called me 37 times in one day. I didn't answer. She texted, emailed, even had her lawyer contact mine. They had 60 days to get out. I let those days pass without saying a word. The kids were settling in with me. They were doing better in school, eating regular meals, sleeping through the night. No screaming. No chaos. It was peaceful. But then, on day 58, my mother showed up in Portland. She stood outside my apartment building, holding a suitcase like I was just going to open the door and let her in. Jacob spotted her from the window. "Is that Grandma?" he asked. I nodded. "Yeah. But she's not staying." She buzzed my unit. I answered on the intercom. "Why are you here?" I asked. "Because I raised you better than this." "Did you?" "I don't remember that part." "You're punishing your sister for something she didn't even understand." "I'm protecting her kids from becoming like her." She went quiet. Then she said, "You've changed." I hung up. She waited outside for an hour. Then she left. The day they moved out of the house, I showed up. Not to help. Just to watch. Alana stood in the driveway, holding a box of her kids' old toys. Travis's parents had shown up with a truck. He was still in jail, waiting for trial. She saw me and stormed up. "Are you happy now?" she snapped. "No. But I'm done being ignored." "You think taking the house makes us even?" "No. But it's a good start." She shook her head like I was crazy. "You destroyed everything," she said. "You destroyed it." I just cleaned up. Then she did something I didn't expect. She broke down crying. Right there in the driveway, surrounded by her garbage bags and boxes. She didn't even try to hide it. For the first time, she looked like someone who realized what she'd done. I didn't comfort her. I turned around and walked into the house, my house, and closed the door. 2 months later, her trial started. She took a plea deal. 3 years of probation. Community service. She lost custody officially. I was granted full guardianship. The kids stayed with me. Mom went quiet. I didn't hear from her after that. Sometimes I wonder if I went too far. If buying the house and evicting them was too much. But then I remember that night in the motel, eating alone, watching my own family pretend I didn't exist. I didn't destroy our family. They did. I just gave them a mirror. And made them look. A few months after the dust settled, things got quieter. Too quiet, honestly. The kids were doing well. Jacob joined the middle school band. Lily started therapy, and for the first time, she was opening up about what it was like living with 2 parents who fought more than they parented. I stayed busy with work and their school schedules. On the outside, everything looked okay. But inside, I was still bitter. Still angry. I had everything I thought I wanted: peace, the house, the truth finally on my side, and yet, something gnawed at me. Then came the letter. Not a text. Not an email. A handwritten letter from my dad, postmarked from some tiny town in Indiana. I hadn't heard from him since before the trial. It said, "I know we failed you. I know we let Alana take over everything. I just want you to know I saw it. I saw how they left you out. I just didn't know how to stop it. I was weak. I'm sorry." That letter hit harder than I expected. He wasn't asking for forgiveness. He wasn't trying to fix anything. He was just telling the truth. That messed with me more than all the yelling and fake apologies. I didn't respond. But I didn't throw the letter away either. It's still in my desk drawer. One night, I got a call from Lily's school. She'd gotten into a fight with another kid apparently. Someone made a joke about her mom being a criminal. The other girl said something cruel, and Lily snapped. They suspended her for 2 days. She cried when I picked her up. I just hate her. I hate everything she did. Why couldn't she just be normal? I didn't have an answer. I sat in the car with her, let her cry, and held her hand. That was the moment I realized something. Revenge had given me control. But it hadn't healed anything. Alana had already ruined her own life. I just gave her the space to do it. But these kids, they still had a chance. I fixed up the house. Repainted everything. Got rid of the old furniture, the old memories. Turned my old bedroom into a reading room. Put up shelves. Filled it with books and light. I made it a home for me, for Jacob, for Lily. One that didn't rely on pretending everything was perfect. We didn't hang up signs that said, "Family is everything." But we lived like it mattered. Real family shows up. Real family doesn't disappear when things get hard. And sometimes, real family isn't who you were born to, it's who stays. That's the part they never understood. That's the part one never forgot.